Housing Development Progress. Number one and the best. Housing Development Progress. Number one. Number one. Housing Development Progress. Number one and the best. Housing Development Progress. Number one. Housing Development Progress. In Nigeria. Housing Development Progress. In Africa. Housing Development Program and the globe. Number one, Housing Development Program.
In Nigeria, the 1999 Constitution recognizes housing as a fundamental human right. Hence, it is imperative that Nigerians have access to decent and affordable, comfortable accommodation at affordable cost. The program is Housing Development. Here we advocate for the provision of affordable, low-cost housing for low-income Nigerians. As always, I am Flora Ani, your housing diva. Today, as Nigerian workers celebrate Labor Day, why some of them are homeowners, others are still tenants. What is their hope of owning a house upon or before retirement? How can more civil servants be made homeowners? This and more will be discussed on the program today. But as usual, let's bring you up to speed on the happenings in the housing sector. I will be back shortly.
As Nigeria experiences rapid urbanization, infrastructure development and economic expansion, a non-governmental organization, the Coalition for Land Rights Advocacy in Nigeria, CLARAN, is advocating for fair and effective land governance systems across the country. The group emphasized the urgent need for policymakers, government agencies, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders to prioritize reforms that would bolster legal frameworks, improve institutional capacity, empower communities, foster stakeholder collaboration, and guarantee transparency and accountability in land acquisition and compensation processes. Through collaborative efforts and embracing inclusive, participatory methods, the organization reiterated that it will contribute to establishing a stronger, fairer, and more suitable land governance system, ensuring the rights of all Nigerians are upheld while fostering inclusive development. The Renewed Hope Cities and Estates project, led by the current administration through the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, received a significant boost with the allocation of a 24.62 hectare plot of land by the Nasarawa State government. During a courtesy visit to the ministry's headquarters in Abuja, Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule handed over the documents to the minister, emphasizing the state's commitment to supporting the ministry's efforts in providing affordable housing to Nigerians. Dangiwa expressed gratitude to the governor for promptly addressing the ministry's request for land, which aims to improve the affordability of housing units for Nigerians. He assured the governor that the commencement of work for the Renewed Hope Cities project in Nasarawa State is impending, with contractors set to start in the coming days after the issuance of the approval of grant and certificate of occupancy for a 24.62 hectare piece of land for the project. The Association of Housing Corporations of Nigeria, AHCN, announced the appointment of a new leadership team, marking the beginning of a hopeful era focused on advancing affordable housing initiatives nationwide. The Executive Secretary of AHCN, Toye Eniola, in a statement, announced the appointment of the new officers, highlighting their commitment to bringing progress and innovation to the housing sector. The association announced that the Managing Director of Cross River State Property and Investment Company Limited, Eno Obonga, assumes the role of president, leading alongside Ayodeji Adebayo Joseph, Managing Director of the Lagos State Development and Property Corporation, as the first vice president, and Abdullahi Rabiu, Managing Director of Kano State Housing Corporation, as the second vice president. Mr. Daniel Makava, a director with the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute takes on the position of Association Secretary, among other appointees.
That is the news headline. For more, do well to visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Today, Nigerian workers joined their counterparts all over the world to celebrate Labor Day. To get to know more about their housing challenges, Housing Development crew spoke with some of the civil servants as they celebrate the day. Have a look.
Nigeria government have not done well in implementing their housing program effectively, especially in the areas of the civil servant. Civil servant in this perspective narrow down to the ministry workers, which earn meager, small salary. I find out that some of them, to even stay in a good environment becomes a problem, because at the end of the year, if you put their salary together, it's not enough to pay for an accommodation. And this housing program supposed to be kind of palliative that will help civil servants live in a good environment.
Actually, there is a scheme, but when it compared to the amount they are selling it and compared to the salary workers is collecting, they are different entirely. You can't be able to do anything about it.
Housing is a key thing that workers should enjoy. If there's a housing scheme, then I think a lot of workers don't mind just working their life just to get that housing, you know, because if you have to put in so many years into service, you're working in an employee, and at the end of those years, you don't have where to lay your head. It's really not good enough. So housing should be a priority. In fact, if government can just leave every other thing and then let the housing scheme be major in what they should let workers achieve at the end of their service, then good enough.
Well, the government is doing a lot to make sure that the workers get housing. But the problem here now is that comparing the salary of the workers, we discover that if you calculate the number of your salary, even if you want to work for the maximum 35 years in office, if you calculate the number, the money they will deduct from your salary, it cannot even afford the amount that the cost of the houses that are building now. What we would advise government to do is that if government want to do it, if they can in a way make it in a way that the loan that will be paying, the government should calculate, at least give us some soft loan to pay for the houses, because most of us that are working, we are unable to afford a decent house. If you look, we see where we are working, where we are staying. Some areas where we are staying, it's not decent, but there is nothing we can do. We just have to manage it.
Hi, I'm Bob Weinsheng, CEO of iBuild Global, and keep watching the Housing Development Program.
We don't have road, and you see at times if it is raining, you will see a lot of people will go by the roadside. They'll be thrown dead on the main road. We also doesn't have toilet. You see a toilet, you will still up to 30 tenants. They are using one. You can't leave your door open, go and buy something. Before you will know, Babambola will enter. By the time you will take them to police station, 1 hour is too much. The police people will release them. In fact, we don't know what is happening.
This is the situation with many citizens in not just Nigeria. Are we ready for this conversation? What is the plight of an average Nigerian citizen in regards to housing? Housing is a fundamental human right, and these issues must be addressed.
There you have it, housing plight of the Nigerian civil servant. Housing has been acknowledged generally as a key human necessity, but when the ordinary Nigerian worker whose earnings and wages are strongly depressed and unable to fulfill their fundamental necessity, what then become of the dream of such a civil servant owning a home before retirement? How can more civil servants in Nigeria become home owners? Let's watch this.
Housing conditions and affordability problems of civil servants is no longer news, as many have expressed dissatisfaction in the scheme. These public servants, who are meant to enjoy their dividends of service during and after retirement, have in recent time seen the reverse, especially in the area of affordable housing. Speaking on the housing plight of civil servants, Oluwakorede Martin Lukoro emphasized on the importance of housing as a means to ensure productivity of workers, while urging the government to do better.
They can still do more, because as we speak now, quite a number of our staff lives outside the FCT. When you talk of Kefi, Kwali, Abaji, Suleja, and all that, some even stay as far as Kaduna, and they come on daily basis. So I still believe that celebrating May Day today, it will be something very remarkable if the Nigeria as a government and the FCT as administration can begin to look inward on how to solve the housing problem, which is seriously a problem generally across the board.
For Comrade Lucky Samuel, the housing program has not been quite effective. He called on stakeholders involved to show practical measures in meeting the needs of beneficiaries.
I think in theory, they have been speaking and writing and putting up issues. They should look at their theory, compare it vis-a-vis the practical. The directors, this public service or servants, call it the permanent secretaries, I think they have been really not fair and honest to civil servants. We have fish. We have other integrated housing schemes. They asked me a question. For the past eight years of administration of our Buhari, let them tell us how many they have been able to execute. You see the Ministry of, what they call it, Ministry of Works and Housing. He will tell you have over this and that, 200, 2,000. We want to see practicability. Let us see the beneficiaries. FCT is one. This is the exemplary life. Let the Minister of Works and Housing tell us how many of these parastatals, MDAs or ministries that are benefited, how many, and compare it with the number of the staffs, and tell me whether we can get up to 5 or 10% of the workforce in Abuja. Then to talk of Lagos or any other federal civil servant that are all over the federation, you see that it's a colossal failure as far as I'm concerned.
Many wonder if this height has truly been achieved. The government has a huge role to play in subsidizing housing and mortgage costs to Nigerians, especially civil servants, so as to enhance accessibility and affordability.
My name is Robert Hornsby with American Home Builders of West Africa. Keep watching Housing Development Program.
state housing corporations doing to make housing available and affordable in their various states, especially to civil servants? What crucial role are they playing to cushion the housing plight of civil servants in their various states? Let's find out what the stakeholders have to say.
Housing corporations are statutorily created as government agencies to execute public housing program and undertake the development of housing estates within the overall framework of the National Housing Policy. This role they have been performing creditably over the years. Speaking with managing directors and general managers of some of the corporations in Nigeria and major stakeholders in the housing sector on affordable housing renewed hope agenda, they highlighted some of the plans on ground as well as strategies by their state's corporation in providing affordable housing for the people of their respective states.
We, as a corporation, we are looking at economy, and what we are trying to do at the moment is to classify our audience into two. We have the low income and we have the high income earners. So we are trying to meet their housing needs to see what materials we could use to ensure that we meet the low income and the materials we could use to also ensure that we are able to meet the needs of the high income earners. So the only concern we have now is getting land for this purpose, and we're working seriously, collaborating with all stakeholders to ensure we have this.
Everything this time around, things are getting worse because of the financial crisis the country is. And at our own level there in Borno State, our amiable governor is trying his all best to see that we resettled our communities now to back to their ancestral home because of the insurgencies that happened. So we are trying, among the 25-year development plan that His Excellency is having now in our state. So housing is one of the most criteria, and he's trying his all best under the housing corporation to see that all houses, all the communities that are going back to their houses, there are various communities, they will own at least houses.
A lot has been done in the housing sector. As I speak to you, there's a lot of collaboration going on with the Federal Mortgage Bank, and 200 houses are at about 65 to 70% level of completion. Yes, and to be delivered by Federal Mortgage Bank for us in a short while. We also have been able to collaborate with family home funds. We have completed our documentation. We are expecting them to come for due diligence. We made a presentation to cover 600 housing units.
There are a lot of strategy put in place, and also the collaboration with financial institutions such as FMBN, which is under the NHF financing. We take our buyers to them to finance the houses, and also the federal government staff housing fund scheme for the civil servants to have access to our federal houses.
Stakeholders highlighted reasons not limited to lack of political will, inadequate budgetary provision, harsh economy, lack of innovation, absence of long-term funds, lack of commitment by successive governments, and adoption of responsibilities of housing corporations by the ministries, among others, were identified as major factors responsible for the housing agencies' underperformance in the provisions of affordable housing to Nigerians.
Not in relationship with the GMs of housing corporations, which are saddled with the responsibility of building houses. The Ministry of Housing in every state do not have any business in building houses. The houses should be built through the housing corporation, and they are empowered to do so. So in view of that, they should ensure that such laws are being entrenched, empower the housing corporations. They have the direct mandate to do this.
Looking at the economy of Nigeria, they may not really be an affordable house if it is solely, the financial aspect is solely on the beneficiary. So it is incumbent on our governments to subsidize housing, because by nature of our building structure, you cannot build without cement, you cannot build without zinc, you cannot build without rod. So all these materials are very, very expensive. So government needs to venture into housing so that the public, the civil servants in particular, let me pick out the civil servants, because they have committed so much to government, and this is the only way government can help them and make sure at least 50% of the housing is subsidized.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh,
Huh? What is it again?
Oga, and they drive this car, my mind no dey. My landlord is on my neck.
Your landlord again? I thought I have told you this before. Get a mortgage, register with NHF scheme, and get a home up front. What is so difficult about this?
Oga, I will do just that. See, I will shame that my landlord. Mortgage.
At the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, everyone deserves a home.
You're watching Housing Development. Now let's look at why you should attend the 18th Africa International Housing Show as an exhibitor, vendor, sponsor, or attendee. The AIHS brings together key players in the housing sector, providing a prime opportunity to network with industry professionals, policymakers, investors, and potential partners. As an exhibitor or sponsor, you can showcase your products, services, and innovation to a diverse audience of housing stakeholders from across Africa and beyond, increasing your brand visibility and market reach. The AIHS attracts investors, financial institutions, and development agencies interested in supporting housing projects and initiatives. As an attendee, you have the opportunity to connect with potential funders and explore financing options for your project. Attendees have the access to informative seminars, workshops, and panel discussions covering a wide range of topics related to housing, construction, finance, and policy, providing valuable insights and opportunities for learning and professional development. So mark your calendar and save the venue, National Stadium, Abuja, to be part of this impactful gathering in the housing sector.
The Africa International Housing Show is an annual event that brings together many vendors and exhibitors, provide attendees the opportunity of networking. The Africa International Housing Show had in attendance over 15,000 people. Africa International Housing Show generally attracts foreign visitors to Nigeria and the host city, Abuja. There is always an influx of visitors and the opportunity to network with thousands of attendees from contractors, developers, architects, government officials, and other construction industry professionals. The annual Housing Festival features over 500 local and international exhibitors and thousands of quality attendees showcasing the latest projects, development, investment, and opportunities. The most highly regarded Africa International Housing Show Conference and Exhibition aims to not only bring together top decision makers in the housing and construction industry, but also create opportunities for visitors to witness and experience the latest equipment, machineries, innovation of construction, interior designs, and property developers. Why exhibit? Meet the right people. The event will bring together the key players in the market, providing exhibitors with valuable face-time experience with both existing clients and potential new business partners. It is the best way to make sure you're meeting the right people for you. Exhibitions are a great way to build relationships, make sales, and gather relevant leads. Face-to-face interaction allows your sales team to achieve the equivalent of 2 months of work across 4 days. Exhibitions are a great way to stand out from the crowd. Build an attention-grabbing stand, have your best staff on site, conduct an effective brochure promotions, and scrupulously follow up with the contacts you have made. Showcase your latest products and solutions. Take advantage of the high number of visitors and the various demo programs throughout the event to showcase your latest product and build your brand awareness appeal to all visitors looking for solutions for their major construction and infrastructure projects by introducing your latest technologies and services. Africa International Housing Show is the ideal event for any product and technology launches.
Since some civil servants in Nigeria cannot afford to access and settle in quality houses without the intervention of government, housing practitioners and authorities assigned with the obligation of providing standard and affordable housing for the various income classes should develop more low-cost and quality houses that civil servants can afford. As Nigerian workers, one thing they desire most is to become homeowners before or upon retirement. Every civil servant deserves to live in their own home. Well, that is it on today's episode of Housing Development. Thanks for watching. I remain Flora Ani, your housing diva. Do have a pleasant day ahead.